Find the parametric equation for the arc of a radius 6 circle from 0, 0 to 12, 0 going under the x-axis. Okay, so to understand what this question is asking, let's see, here's 0, 0, and here's 12, 0. It's radius 6 circle, so this is 0 to 12, that's 12, so this has to be the diameter, because if you have a circle, the longest distance between 2 points is the diameter, and the radius 6 circle has 12 as its diameter, right? So it must be like the half circle, and it's going under the x-axis. So this is what we want to represent. Okay, it's just half circle. So for this one, it's helpful to start from the usual radius 6 circle. So let's say this is 6, 0, and this is negative 6, 0, this point right here. And we know that this circle is parametrized by 6 times cosine t, 6 times sine t. Okay, so if you set this equals to RT, then this gives you the parametrization of the circle. Now, what's happened from here to there is, I think, two things happened. It shifted 6 to the right, so that the circle is now not centered at the origin, but centered at 6, 0. And therefore, to move everything to the right by 6, you need to make RT as 6 cosine t plus 6, 6 sine t. Okay, so that's good, but this is not the full story. You see, it's going this way, but it's not the full circle, it's the half circle. So remember, this would be when t is 0, and this would be when t is equal to pi, because when t is pi, cosine pi is -1 and sine pi is 0, so you do get 6, 0. Negative 6, 0 when t is pi. So you do have negative 6, 0 when t is pi, and then when t is after pi, for example, right here would be when t is equal to 3 pi over 2, and then arrives at here. So it really starts here and then finishes here, right? So it's really this part that we want. And to denote that it's really this part we want, we should say t is between pi until 2 pi, because if it's 2 pi, you come back to here, right? And this applies in the same way to this one if you just want the bottom circle. So the answer to this would be that RT should be 6 cosine t plus 6 sine t, with t between pi to 2 pi. Now note that this is not the only answer. It's a parametric equation. It's not the only answer. And if you're curious to know what other answers there are, for example, you can rewrite t as 2t and make t go from pi over 2 to pi. That's a legit answer. That will give you the exact same beginning and end points, and the difference would be that it's going to travel through this double time. It will be twice as fast. So that's another possible answer. Another thing you can do is, rather than using cosine and sine, you can also use sine and cosine. So alternatively, alt answer, okay, there are infinitely many, because you can change the speed, okay? But alt answer, I want to mention the one that uses sine would be 6 sine of t plus 6 and 6 cosine of t. And what happens is that sine pi over 2, cosine pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2 makes this negative, so we know that that's negative. And if you look at the sine graph is like that. So from pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, the sine graph goes, it decreases, right? It goes from positive 1 to negative 1. Okay, so I would require this to be a negative. Okay, so if you have this, it does require some trial and error, but you can see that if you have this one with t being between pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, then again, it's going to give you the exact same trajectory. You can check this, okay? But it's okay if you didn't understand this. It's really this one you should be able to do. Now, this question is going under the axis, so x-axis. So let me show you how the answer would be different if it said it's going over the x-axis. If it's going over the x-axis, then it's the same picture, but instead you're going that way. Okay, so it's from 0 until 12. You're going this way. So how does that work? Well, we can still use the same thing, but we have to start modifying the answer. So we know that it should be 6 cosine t, 6 sine t, because the radius is 6. And then since it's moved 6 to the right, the center of the circle is no longer 0, 0. It's 6 moved to the right. So I add 6 to here. Now if the circle went up, then I would have added 6 to here instead. Okay, so you should be able to figure out what to add just by looking at the change of the center. And then you have to think about what would this be parametrized as. So in this circle, regular circle, this is t equal to 0, and this is t equals to pi. So if you go this way, right, then you're going to get t equal to 0 to t equals to pi. So so if you do t from 0 to pi, this is almost the answer, but this is, so this one will give you the circle that's going this way, which is the opposite of what you want. Okay, so how do you change this? Well, see, you want to start from pi and you want to end at 0, right? So one nice thing you can do is replace t by pi minus t. If you replace t by pi minus t, then when t is 0, pi will be plugged in, so it will have the effect of starting from here. And when t is pi, you end up with this. So if you say rt equals to 6 cosine pi minus t plus 6 sine pi minus t, then this one will give you exactly what you want. Okay, it starts from here and ends there. Okay, and then you want to simplify these, and I mean, I'm not so sure if you're doing some problems on WebWork or some other platform. They might not want these pi minus t there, so you have to know how to simplify them. And to do that, there are many ways, but I guess the more straightforward way is to use this sine sum formula, which is sine of A cosine of B plus sine of B cosine A. And cosine A plus B gives you cosine A cosine B minus sine A sine B. Okay, so you can use this. So for example, cosine pi minus t would be cosine of pi. I'm using this formula here. Cosine of pi is A, and then cosine of negative t minus sine of pi sine of negative t. Cosine pi is -1. Cosine is an even function, so it eats up the negative sign, okay? So it gives you cosine just t. Sine pi is 0, so I don't care what that is, so it's just this. So it's negative cosine t. Oh, that's nice. So now I can just replace this by -6 cosine t plus 6. And in the same way, if I do sine pi minus t, that's sine pi cosine negative t plus sine negative t cosine pi. Sine pi is 0, so that's gone. Cosine pi is -1, and sine of negative t is same as negative sine t. So this is negative sine t times cosine pi, which is -1, so multiply them, it's sine of t. Okay, so you have sine of t. Okay, so that's the answer, and your t value should be between 0 to pi. Okay, and as before, this is not the only answer. There are like infinitely many possible answers. You can replace cosine by sine, of course, then you have to think about what this should be, and there will be all these differences.